Hello, dear Wine Club member. Welcome back to our May installment of Shipment. So, as many of you might know, I have a special place in my heart for both Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo grape. They're quite similar. And this month, I wanted to take you on the journey with this somewhat misunderstood, but really starting to pick up as far as in popularity, the Barolo region and the Nebbiolo grape. So, let's get started. I am actually offering 3 different wines for you to try this month from 2 different producers. So we're going to talk about Marovaglio first. We're going to start from the very beginning. Now currently, Marovaglio owns about 19 hectares and they're spread out between 3 communes of Barolo. Now talk about Barolo, I knew we were going to do a Barolo wine club this month, so I have already filmed a nice little Barolo 101 couple weeks ago. I'm going to put a link below, and I highly recommend if you are new to the region, check it out and you'll understand the region just a little bit more. So Marovaglio owns about 19 hectares spread amongst 3 different communes of Barolo, and the 3 communes that he has land under are La Mora, Monforte de Alvat, and the Barolo commune. And if we want to go all the way back to the beginning, this all started with the first generation. Angelo Vaglio was born in 1928. He was more of a farmer, butcher. He worked many different jobs, kind of scrap things together. And I want you to understand, if you are in the wine thing now, yes, Barolo is hot, it's popping, and people are wanting to go there. But back in the day, it was a pretty poor part of town. And he had to kind of scrape by to make a living, and it wasn't until the 1960s and 70s when he first purchased land and vineyard and started making wines under their name. He actually has 3 sons, and all of the 3, there's only one which his name is on the bottle, Marovaglio. He was the only son who wanted to take after his father's footstep back in 1986 to take over the vineyard and continue making wine. I want to stress, like 30-40 years ago, this wasn't a hip region, so many younger folks did not want to stay behind to farm and to make wine. They want to go to the bigger city for a better job opportunity, so it wasn't common for a younger son to agree to stand back and take after his father's vineyard and continue to groom it. I also want you to know Marovaglio is an entrepreneur and a visionary. So in the 90s, he decided to kind of become, and if you watch the videos on Barolo, like just put out a couple weeks ago, we talk about Barolo now split into 2 different styles. We have a half of the producer that like to hold on to tradition and the old way of how Barolo was made, and then you have the newer wave of producer such as himself who wanted to adapt the newer winemaking technique and start aging their wines in smaller barrique rather than the really big old barrel from back in the days. And he was one of them, and he did all the renovation in the 90s, and his wine their wine actually changed in style greatly since then. And I pick him on purpose because I want this month's wine club to have a representation of a winery that's making it in a traditional style, which you'll see in this black box, which we'll reveal later, and the newer winemaking style back here. And I also wanted to give you something, because if you don't know this yet, Barolo is known to be able to age for decades up on decades. You can literally wait until you're gray just for the Barolo to be ready. So I wanted to give you something you can drink now, something you can drink in the next couple years, and something you can hold onto if you have the patience, which I recommend you do, because 15 was a great vintage in Barolo, and which means you'll need more time aging it. Sorry about that. All right, so we'll start with the first wine, the wine that you can drink now, which is right here. This is the 2017. Is Marovaglio's Langhe Nebbiolo grape, so it doesn't actually fall within the Barolo regulation, so it just falls under the Langhe Nebbiolo grape. This is actually sourced still from all of their land in the Barolo communes, but it's just their youngest vine. So true to the Nebbiolo grape, this wine is going to taste of raspberry, cranberry, cherries. It's going to be floral. It's red. It's juicy, and it's gonna have some delicate raspberry again, that red fruit notes, and it's meant to be enjoyed right now. And I want you to know, imagine Barolo is a very kind of mountainous, or there's a lot of up and downs, a lot of hills if you've ever been there, with a lot of really highly fragmented vineyard. So each vineyard have different aspects, and they're facing different side. It's quite a sight to see, especially if you go during the fall, catching the truffle festival in Piemonte. That is the best time to go. But with that being said, everything's done by hand, and because the vineyards are so segregated, most of the producer, we're talking about tiny production. So this particular wine, they only have 20,000 bottles produced every year, roughly, which equates to about 1,600 cases. So not a huge production, but ready to be enjoyed now. So this is the first wine I want you to try, and extremely reasonable in price. So this is the wine I say you can just enjoy it now. Kind of give you a nice idea, the intro to Nebbiolo, if you're not already familiar with them. If you are already familiar with them, again, this is a wine that you drink on a daily level while waiting for your Barolo to mature. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Now, the second wine, they actually do quite a few single vineyard Barolo, and I picked this one in particular. The reason being is I want you to have a nice contrast. You know, I'm really geeky. Whenever I pick wine, I want there to be a reason. So this Barolo and the wine in the black box, which we will reveal later, have similar exposure. They're both kind of southeastern exposure on the top of the hill, facing the same way, somewhat close in location, and they're both on the same side of the Barolo commune that is known for the more elegant style. So what I want you to compare between the two is the style of winemaking. As we mentioned earlier, Mauro Vecchio is adapting the more modern style of winemaking, aging their Barolo in barrique, and is meant to be enjoyed younger, whereas in the Dallamino that we have is our third choice for this month is still done in a very traditional method, and we'll go over more in detail in a little bit. So the bottle here is the 2015 Mauro Vecchio Barolo Arborina. Arborina is their single vineyard, as I mentioned earlier, and they only make about 6,000 bottles each year, which is about 500 cases. Not something that's very easy to find. The reason why I picked them is because I think, again, it shows a very good representation of what the modern style of Barolo winemaker are doing, and it also provides extreme good value. As I mentioned earlier, Barolo is becoming very popular, and you can easily go up to $400 a bottle for the famous Cru Barolo nowadays. And I think for their family to still make a very affordable Barolo on the market is a steal, and I think it's worth every penny. I hope you enjoyed it. Ideally, if you can, enjoy with the food that you would normally see from the regions, say pasta with truffle, something simple. You wanted to be able to bring out that aromatic and not really something with good enough kind of body and structure and fat content to really hold up to the acid and tannin that you're going to find in this bottle. Okay, the third bottle for this month is the 2015, again, same vintage, but it's from a different producer. It's the Dallamino Barolo Canubi. So if you're drinking Barolo, you have to try Barolo wines from the Canubi region, because it is known to make one of the most elegant yet complex and just beautiful aromatic of a wine. So today I'm really proud and excited to be able to find and offer this for you guys, and it comes in a beautiful wooden box. So I wanted to kind of do the reveal with you guys here. They come in a nice 6-pack box. Ta-da! And just so you know, their winery is located in La Mora, and when it comes to winery visit in Italy is still so different than your known touristy wine regions such as Napa and Bordeaux, which they're making it into almost like a machine. We're in comparison, if you go to regions in Italy like Tuscany and Piemonte, they're still family owned. They welcome you like friends. The tasting will last 3 hours. I learned it from personal experience because I was of the Napa mindset, right? They wanted to turn you and burn you, get you in, get you out. So I thought I can cram in maybe 5 wineries in a day in Italy. Not the case. They will host you like your old friends and you'll be there for hours. And it's especially awesome if you get a chance to go to Dallamino because they actually have a Michelin-rated restaurant right in the town of La Mora. Worth a visit to drink their wine and have amazing food to go with it too. So beautiful. I don't want this bottle to fall off, but this is it. All right, we're gonna take this one out of the wrapper so you can see the bottle. So 2015 Gianni Barolo Canubi. Another really cool thing, the reason why I wanted to do this too, is also that they both started right around the same time. And isn't it kind of interesting? They're both Nebbiolo Gray from Barolo, but this is done in like a Burgundy bottle and Bordeaux bottle. They're very, very like similar. And so they started, the first generation started planting and buying wine in the 60s, but these guys kind of started earlier. It's actually one of the oldest Barolo wineries in the region. They started back in the 1890s. And like I said, it's got a very similar exposure, southeastern exposure, just like the Maros Vecchios. I thought it was very interesting in comparison. Now the difference is that these guys are holding on to tradition. So Maros Vecchio is aging their wines in barrique because the purpose is they want the tannin to be more well integrated, and so you can enjoy the wine earlier. These guys are aged in all neutral barrel, anywhere from 20 hectoliter to 100 hectoliter. So that is literally 10 to 40 times bigger than your traditional barrique, which is about 225 liter. That is very amazing, isn't it? And because of that, the wines takes a long time to kind of get integrated, but your patience will be rewarded. Put this guy to sleep if you can. If not, make sure you give it ample time, decant it well in advance before enjoying it. This wine is going to reward you with lots of complexity, truffles, red fruit, cherry, raspberry, cranberry, tart, a little more licorice in the background. You're going to get a lot more of that minerality, high acid, very sharp, racy acidity. Their wine is one of my favorites. I love them, and they don't make a lot of them. This is only 40,000 bottles produced annually, roughly. So again, it's a very special treat. With that being said, I really hope you enjoy this month's Barolo Trio or Nebbiolo Trio, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next month.